So thanks for having me. My name is Tracy Heather Strain, and I'm a documentary filmmaker, and I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I also teach part-time at Northeastern University. Well, it was something that came a little bit later. I was still in my 20s when I made the move to filmmaking, but if you can believe it, I actually made the move to filmmaking because I wanted to make a film about Lorraine Hansberry. So I've been interested in Lorraine Hansberry for a long time, and I was seeing a lot of independent films, and I was inspired to tell a story about a black woman. My documentary is called Sighted Eyes, Feeling Heart, and it's the first feature documentary about Lorraine Hansberry. She's best known for writing the play A Raisin in the Sun. A Raisin in the Sun premiered in Broadway in 1959. It was a big success, and in our documentary is a biography of Lorraine's life. It includes the story of how A Raisin in the Sun got to Broadway, but what people have found really interesting is her own story. She was born in 1930 in the midst of the Depression, and she was from an activist family. Her parents were fighting against racial segregation, particularly in housing in the Chicago area. And from an early age, she was taught that you had to be engaged and you needed to make change. And her father actually won a U.S. Supreme Court case when she was little. Unfortunately, he passed away. He had passed away in embittered exile. He was moving the family to Mexico when he died. So she grew up, went to college, and left college to become more involved in things in New York City. And she knew Paul Robeson. She worked for his newspaper, and decided that journalism wasn't for her, and thought that theater was the way to really make change in society. And then sadly, she dies 6 years after the success of her play A Raisin in the Sun. Mm-hmm. But our journey also lets you see that she was a tough cookie. Some people thought she was sort of a soft personality, but fortunately our research shows this woman who was very feisty and very opinionated, and she was not shy about even telling the U.S. Attorney General, Robert Kennedy, her thoughts about, issues around race in the United States and the civil rights movement. She also was secretly, to most people, a lesbian. And even though she was married, she'd been married to a white man, mm-hmm. And they secretly divorced about a year before she died. It was not easy to document her work. It was difficult to raise the money we needed to make the film. It took a long time. We worked on the film for 14 years. And most of that time was spent raising money. We'd get a little money, we'd shoot some interviews, then we'd go back and try to raise some more money. And then finally, we finished it last year in 2017. It was not easy, but finding her papers, reading her papers, and digging in archives and libraries, that was a joy. That was the best part. Just really seeing what she wrote in her diaries, that was the best part of it. It was hard trying to take this life and bring it down to a 2-hour film. But that was the enjoyable part. So, one of the people involved with the film, our executive producer, Chiz Schultz, is older than I am and has worked with many of those people. So it was easier to get to them. So he had worked with Ruby Dee and Harry Belafonte and Sidney Poitier previously, and Lou Gossett as well. It made it easier. But everyone was really happy that we were making a film about Lorraine Hansberry. They thought it was overdue. And so they were all very lovely. And we found out last year, Mr. Poitier saw the film and he really liked it. So he was really happy. He thought everyone should see it. So A Raisin in the Sun helped change American theater a little bit. It opened the door a little. No one in American theater today would say that everything changed after Raisin in the Sun, but it gave a lot of people hope, and more people got work, and more people were inspired to think, oh, the theater is for us. And in terms of movies, I think that Sidney Poitier was already a star, and so more people were already thinking about movies potentially. And so the movie originally wasn't successful, but over time it's become very successful. She really wanted to make A Raisin in the Sun because she really thought art was the way to help change society. And at that time, in the post-war period and post-World War II period in the United States, a lot of people were gravitating to the theater as a way of making change. There was a lot of theater coming from France and other places, but she didn't like that theater. She thought it was too esoteric, questions of who am I, why am I here. She thought those were this is a paraphrase, the indulgences of adolescence. She's like, we have to do things, because she thought all art is social. Even if you don't want to say that it's political, it all is. I think that it's challenging to be an African-American filmmaker in any part of this business, whether it's film, TV, media. It's very difficult for people who are black to get the money to make the work that they know that may resonate. It's a challenge because many people the gatekeepers are not diverse. Do you understand? Yeah. And tend to not see the value necessarily originally in our work. I think some of the people who were involved in this film were surprised at how it resonated when they saw it with audiences that included lots of people who are black, African American as well. I think they were surprised. I had been saying this for a long time. People are very emotional at the end of this film because you don't get to see experiences of people, especially middle-class black people. Often the experiences are presented on screen of people who are having challenging experiences, whether economically or other social experiences. And the experiences of people who are facing other challenges are often not seen on the screen. And so we need a range of experience. Everyone wants to see someone who's like them on the screen. And so this film, people feel like close to Lorraine.